Good evening, good evening, good evening. We are tonight's entertainment for this evening. It is a beautiful fall evening. The date is October 27th. Halloween is upon us. It is Halloween weekend officially. So if you are going out trick-or-treating or dressing up or doing whatever, just be careful. It is historically one of the most reckless weekends in our country, just statistically, with accidents and people getting run over and just people thinking because they're in costumes, they could act differently. It's very similar to how people are behind the screen. It's kind of interesting how it transitions on Halloween. It's kind of the same concept, but we're not here to do that. We are here to talk football. We got some trick-or-treat specialties coming up this weekend. We might have a trick-or-treat tonight because honestly, Vic, tonight's game is supposed to be a big one, supposed to be a special one. But are we in for a treat or are we going to get tricked? And is it going to fall in line with the rest of the Thursday night theme? Talk to the people, Vic Jr. How you feeling tonight?
Yeah, I don't know if you can hear me well. Can you hear me well?
I can.
All right. Yeah, man, I'm not very excited about today's game, unfortunately. You know how I feel about these Thursday games and how just you can't give football players 3 days rest, man. It's football, it's a violent sport. But that's where we at right now. That's the business part of it. Add the fact that one of these teams is struggling severely at this stage of the season. The numbers, the statistics, team statistics back that up. Then you got another team that's kind of been inconsistent. One of those things where you just hope and pray for a good game.
Amen.
Game in which they come out healthy. But yeah, man, it's been an interesting 7 weeks. That's for sure. There's been a lot of youth movements. A lot of different teams that you did not expect to be doing well are doing very well.
Yep.
So it's been fun. It's been fun.
I mean, there's no doubt it's been a, I guess you could say, unpredictable type of year. I mean, look at these two teams that we got going on tonight. You got the Ravens at 4-3, and the BUCS are at 3-4. Like, who would have ever thought the Buccaneers would be at 3-4? And we'll start right there with Tampa. Let's talk about Tampa. Then we'll talk about a little bit about Baltimore, and then we'll talk about some headlines, and then we'll circle back around this game. Shout out to everybody in the comments. Tyra Love is the one who kicked off the comment section tonight. And Ty, I would like to discuss with you at some point your emotional damage as we sit here today with the announcement that apparently this is going to be the last rotation for the McRib, which I think most of the general population will say it's about damn time. But back to business.
The ones that care about the health in their souls. You know what I mean? Like, my goodness, how can you consume such a thing, Tyrell? Explain to the people.
There's a comedian. His name is Roy Wood Jr. I'm sure most of you are familiar with him. He said the McRib is eco-friendly in that whatever they don't sell, whatever McRibs are for sale this year are the ones that were left over from last year. So in that way, it's eco-friendly. I don't know. I've never had a McRib. I don't ever intend on having a McRib ever in my life. It's not something like missed it. I'm not gonna concern myself. Matter of fact, the thought of having a McRib has never even entered my mind. I've never even contemplated having a McRib. It's not like I'm driving at night. Oh, McRib is back.
Disturbing.
You know,
The only time McDonald's got me is because I'm such a big fan of this game, but it's when the Monopoly shit used to come out.
Okay, all right. I mean, that's understandable.
I just love Monopoly, so I kept falling for their little Monopoly tricks. But
I'm gonna be fully honest with you, Vic. The last time I had McDonald's was April 2013 or May 2013.
Damn.
That was the last time that I had some McDonald's. And I plan on keeping that streak. I don't know if it's like a Guinness World Record somewhere, but that is the last time that I had McDonald's. And again, also for the internet people out there, I saw somebody did a review of all the chicken sandwiches and they like just trashed Wendy's chicken sandwich. I don't care what nobody says. Wendy's number 6 is the most elite chicken sandwich in the game. Wow. And that's not up for debate. I said it. Yeah, Chick-fil-A, I said it.
Every once in a blue moon, I'll be wanting to have a chicken sandwich from somewhere. So I guess I'll go check it out. You know, I make the best chicken sandwiches, but it's another story.
Number 6, no tomatoes. Elite. That is a elite sandwich. Just lettuce and mayo and a spicy chicken. That's all you need. Okay, I can appreciate some good pickles in a chicken sandwich. I'm not saying that Popeyes, Chick-fil-A, but in terms of just consistency, Wendy's number 6. Shout out to Wendy's number 6.
Yeah, you know, I don't know what education Tyrell got, what American, you know, education level he got, but he must definitely not seen any supersized documentaries over his time, because holy crap, he's saying he's gonna be crying. He's gonna cry here when this thing disappears.
Well, listen, it's one of those things. Like people, if you eat McRibs, like you're in a cult. Like it's a cult. That's what it is. Like nobody. I don't understand how people eat it. That's the only explanation. But yeah. Whatever. Yes, Jaquan, better than Chick-fil-A. Okay, I understand that the internet has made Chick-fil-A out to be the GOAT of chicken sandwiches. Listen, Chick-fil-A's customer service is absolutely the GOAT. Okay, they are the most consistent. You just feel, sometimes I don't even, I'll go to the Chick-fil-A drive-thru just to go to the drive-thru. I don't even need to order nothing. Just to get a confidence booster about myself. I'll go to the Chick-fil-A drive-thru. I'm just talking about the food, okay? And I know the people from St. Croix will agree with me, but whatever, we'll leave it for that. Let's talk about the game. Let's talk about football. That's enough. I'm hungry. I had lunch about 1:30. I haven't had anything to eat since. I'm hungry. All right, so that's why I'm talking about food right now. Vic, let's talk about tonight's game. BUCS. So the BUCS obviously have had a lot of issues throughout the season. And I think what you're seeing from the BUCS is there's a lot of things that they are bad at, and there's not a lot of things that they are good at. And as I said in the post, they're still trying to figure out what exactly they're good at. And it's week 8 now. You know, like I said, once the clock hits November, that's it. You start getting into who are you. You start getting into who's real, who's not. Like the NFL is merciless. The NFL season is merciless. Nothing is given to you. You got to earn everything. To me, I'm going to give you my biggest concern for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers is that red zone offense. It's been their biggest strength the last few years, and now all of a sudden it is their biggest weakness. And there's a lot that's going into why are they so bad in the red zone. Number one, you look at it, they're very bad in short yardage situations, period. And so if you're bad in short yardage, guess what? That's going to transition to you being bad in the red zone, where it's tight, where things get tighter, where the field gets so much more condensed. And they are having a lot of problems with separation, with route distribution, with spacing, with timing of the play calling. And honestly, with Brady has missed some throws in the red zone. He's missed some opportunities in the red zone. So it's a whole multitude of things. And to me, we could talk about how bad the offensive line is, Vic, but to me, the Bucs' biggest concern is how bad they've been in the red zone. I think like they're under 50% in the red zone. That is terrible. Not for any team. That's not good. But for a Tom Brady-led football team, they have been horrendous in the red zone. Go ahead, Vic.
Yeah, I mean, some of the things I was looking at the statistics and stuff like that, and then trying to match it with, you know, watching some of the games. The first thing for me is the offensive line is not what it used to be. Unfortunately, they're not getting the movement that you're used to. In the run game specifically, where again, I believe that's where a mark of a good football team is how you run the football. And then if you think about a Tom Brady-led offense, they're very good at good situational rushes. When to run the ball. And executing when it's time to run the ball. So he's never had an offense where the run game was top 10, top 15 even, but they always knew when to run the ball. And, but to be 32nd in the league right now, Mo, at 64.4 yards a game that's abysmal, and it starts with up front. These guys are just not getting the movement. And we talked about it before. Ryan Jensen at center, Ali Marpet at left guard. Big losses there. And then, the tackles are just not, performing like you would expect. So, to me, again, they got to find a way to start dominating, at least on the ground, at least situationally. Because like you said, even on short yardage situations, they're not getting it done. And that's about controlling the line of scrimmage and controlling the time of possession. So that that's one thing that was big for me. But as well as the scoring difference right now, you got the Ravens at 25.9 points per game and the BUCS at 17.7 points per game. Good for, I think it was 26th in the league. That, just not the same Tampa Bay team. We're
No.
7 weeks in. So, by now you have to have it figured it out. And so far they don't. And it's going to be an interesting next 10 games.
And again, I want to go back to something that you said, and it kind of leads it. It seems like we're both honing in on the theme of short yardage situation, and short yardage situation. That's what makes championship football teams. That's one of the reasons we coined the term "no beef, no Lombardi." Because if you can't pick up that 3rd and 1, that 4th and 1, that 3rd and 2, if you can't pick it up consistently, then you're not a championship football team. There's no other way around it. And the worst part is, not only if you're not getting it consistently, if you can't at will hand the ball off on 3rd and 1 and get a yard throughout the 17-game season and show that you can do it over and over and you can confidently execute that situation, that play, then again, it's hard to say that you are a legitimate contender for a championship. We understand who Tom Brady is, okay? And we understand that at any given point, he can be the exception to the rules of the lab. And that's not being biased. That's me evaluating what he's been doing for the last 22 years, right? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, that's just a fact, honestly. But we got to look at it for what it is. Again, every season has its own story. And we got to look at who Tom Brady is, where he is in his career, and what's going on around him. But just stick it to the on the field thing, because everything factors in, but just stick it to the on the field thing from that aspect. They are having major issues. I know Trav is right now just probably saying preach, Mo, preach, because they are having so many issues converting. There's so many times where they're in a 3rd and 1, 3rd and 2, and they're just running this straight dive down the middle, and it's not working. It's not happening. They're not only is the play not working, they're getting blown up. They're losing yardage. You know what I mean? A couple of times they converted it is because Fournette is just willing his way to a first down because he's hard to bring down.
Right.
And then again, and I also think there's a thing with Brady where he's just really trying to make the running back White, where he's really trying to make him that Deion Lewis, Kevin Falk, James White, Shane Vereen, shout out to Shane Vereen type of a player. And that's been a huge restriction to this offense because he hasn't been consistent enough. Neither has Brady been consistent enough with him. But like you said, the 3 major players who were their best blockers, Ryan Jensen, Alex Kappa, and Rob Gronkowski. Now, the Ryan Jensen thing, that's out of, that's freaky, and we wish him the best. But, hey, man, Brady, if Brady didn't have partially retired, it's hard to convince me that Alex Kappa and Rob Gronkowski wouldn't be there today. So I honestly think we just got to be fair here. Part of the mess in Tampa has been caused by 12. And it's either he sticks with it and they try to figure it out, or depending on what happens with his at-home situation, if he so desperately wants one more ring, he's going to end up playing for another team.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because, like, this is his last year in Tampa, any way you spin it, in my humble opinion.
It's funny because, like, he leaves the Patriots in that strict environment that Bill creates, and there's no drama. You know, he leaves, there's more drama. He's more free. He's more open. He's on Twitter. He's on Instagram. You know, they win a championship, you know, and then next thing you know, the divorce and stuff like that. So, like, like a lot of it is on him. He kind of became like a kid at a candy store when he left the Patriots. Was free to do whatever he wanted, to the point where, like, everything, like the Antonio Brown situation as well, you can throw in there, like, because he brought Antonio in there. So, like, it's a funny last couple of years, man. It's a very funny, interesting last couple of years. It's been entertaining. He's shown how great he is, but also how his different characters since he's left the Patriots. So, I mean, that's a good point for you to bring up in terms of the drama that you know, or any of the things that can be put on to blame on him and stuff like that. You know, as far as on the field again, that's a great point, because, like, one thing that we see on film with Tom is, if there's not something down the field, he knows exactly where the running back is. And he's hands down the best I've ever seen doing a lot of things. But whenever, like, there's nothing downfield, quickly to his left or quickly to his right, he knows exactly where the running back is. And it's one of the best parts of his game. And so far, he doesn't have those guys that can run those routes or be in the spot that he likes, you know, to throw the ball to. So, you know, that is another factor. You know, to be honest, man, there's a lot. There's a lot going on. And if today they look even worse, I'm not excited about their playoff. I'm not excited about their playoff chances.
No.
They're probably in an easy division per se, but I mean, we looking like a first round loss here. If anything, like, that's what it's looking like. Because you know, Ryan Jensen does have a chance to come back, and that will be a big like addition. No, you know, again, the center, people underrate how important that is, but somebody of his caliber, if he's able to come back for the playoffs, that'll be, you know, great for them. But it's not looking like a great team right now.
No, not at all. And to your point about when he left New England, here's the best way I can give it to you, right? Tom with Belichick is Kobe. Tom without Belichick is Shaq. And Tom needs to be Kobe, not Shaq. And that's the way I look at it. He like, as he is the GOAT because of certain environment that was created in New England that he helped create. You know what I mean? Like that, the environment in New England would have never been what it was if the franchise wasn't down to lay the foundation, you know, and that's a big reason. So we'll leave it at that for Brady. Move it over to Lamar, who is, like, you talk about polar opposites. It's Lamar and Brady, and in a lot of ways. Where Lamar, the thing with Lamar, and we just got to call it what it is, right? Sure, you want to evaluate him as a conventional quarterback, you're probably going to give him a C- grade, right? You want to evaluate him as a football player, that's an A football player. And I don't think there's any way to dispute it. But you look at certain flaws that he has, and you realize when you're playing the cream of the crop in this league, those flaws get magnified. Those shortcomings become taller or longer, rather. And you're looking at what's happened over the last few weeks. Yes, they're making plays. Yes, they're doing what they need to do. Yes, they're dominating the line of scrimmage. Yes, he's exciting to watch. But they're not closing out football games. Mm-hmm. So, Vic, give me your thoughts, what you've seen from Lamar in this year and just the Ravens as a whole.
Right. And like, again, this is a team averaging 156.3 yards rushing per game. That's 5th in the league. You know, they can definitely run the ball like they always do. Lamar is continuously a part of that. But, you know, again, defenses, they know that's coming. And then, you know, are you able to close games passing? You know, that's the question. Last week, he had 120 yards passing, and it was enough, unfortunately, to beat the lowly Browns, who has been, despite their quarterback situation, they have been such a disappointment. Another team that just doesn't seem to know how to close games. And you know, it's making that old school rushing attack feel like it's worth nothing. You know what I mean? Because you're both teams are supposed to be good at running the football, which should help you close a game, which should help you control the time of possession. And for some reason, you know, again, these are one of these things that you got to go down by down, play by play on film to figure out exactly what the situation is. But if they're stopping you in terms of the Ravens specifically, if they're stopping your rushing attack, you have to be able to make some short yardage to intermediate throws to continue the drive and help close the game, you know. And is Lamar doing those things where if the rushing attack is not available, it's being taken away with 8 men, 9 men in the box, can you make a completion down the field to continue to drive? And it looks like at times it's just not working out there for the Ravens. They do have injuries. Our Andrews, I think, is questionable today. So we don't know how significant that injury is, but that's his guy. That's his a safety valve, you can say. So you know, Lamar. You know, there's a lot of talk about Lamar, both in a negative and a positive way. Regardless, he's still got to pick up his game if he wants to be considered one of the elites and have long playoff appearances at the end of the day. Because the competition is elite in the AFC. You got a lot of young quarterbacks in the AFC that are better than you, period. And so it is what it is, man. Like, let's see it tonight.
So as far as Mark Andrews, he's got a knee issue that he's dealing with, and he's listed as questionable. Now, I just looked on Twitter. Apparently, he's been in warmups. Everybody's watching him. He's going to be active. He's going to go out there. Unless anything changes, we'll let you know. But clearly they're keeping a close eye on it. And then you wonder if he's going to be limited in any capacity. And the reason that's significant is because generally, this year in particular, I haven't gone back to previous seasons, but this year in particular, like when Mark Andrews, you look at the stat line at the end of the game, you take Mark Andrews' yards and you put ×2, and it's usually more than what Lamar threw for, with the exception of the game where he threw for over 300 yards, and he had 110 yards in that game. You know what I mean? So there's just way too much dependence on one player, and that one player being the tight end. Well, what does that tell me? Well, it tells me that he's still struggling to throw outside the numbers. He's still struggling to make these big boy throws at a consistent level. A 50-yard deep ball is not a big boy throw. An 18-yard comeback route is a big boy throw.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And we're still not seeing that from him. And so, he really has to take that next step. Lamar every week is good enough to win you fantasy games, right? But he's not good enough every week to win you games against the cream of the crop talent consistently being the key factor. Right. And now, to his credit, as I say, he has been evolving and improving, but that leap that needs to happen has not yet happened, right? So I'm gonna be very clear when I say this. I do not see the Ravens as legitimate threats in the AFC. I just don't, especially with the way they've been playing, because that defense is not good enough to win you games if your offense is putting up 20 to 23 points week in and week out. That defense is not that consistent either.
Right.
So you just look at Baltimore. It's no shortage of talent. It's a shortage of the substance of the talent and the consistency of the talent. And I think that's why week in and week out, there's such an emotional roller coaster with Ravens games. Anything you want to add to that?
Yeah, no, I mean, and the thing is, they will make the playoffs in a sense where because the field is so deep now with what is it 7 or 8 teams now that can make the playoff per conference?
17 per conference.
7 teams per conference. So, you got the Bengals, who you would assume take the first place. The Browns are, you can say are still around, but the Ravens should be able to get second. So, are you going to be able to go up against, team, that the team that's number one in the conference or number two in the conference, or even the third team in the conference and win that first round game? Are you going to be able to win the second round game if you get past that first one? I mean, again, all the talk about Lamar, but you got to make a deep playoff run, man. And like Tanya's saying right here, no excuses. You want all the guaranteed money in the world. You got to earn that, man. And like, again, I'm for market value, especially as somebody that's selling so many tickets for you, has done so much for your organization and for your local area. I'm for those paying those guys, aka Aaron Judge, New York Yankees. But Lamar, same thing. He deserves to get paid, but guaranteed money, that's a whole different ballpark. That's a whole different ballpark, especially if you're asking for 50 per. So, again, I want to see, man, listen, those outside throws, big boy stuff right there. It's fun to watch on film. And again, we got to see it. And we don't see it yet. It's been 6 years already, or fifth year. He's in his fifth year.
Fifth year.
So.
Right. And again, like usually by the 6th or 7th year, that's when the quarterback becomes complete with his product. Usually, there's still some fine tuning that happens. This is the NFL. You can't just reach what your potential is and think you're going to stay there, Matt Ryan. Like you got to constantly evolve, Cam Newton. And so I think, will we see Lamar continue to constantly evolve? And at some point, we got to look at him and say, okay, he can do it now. And until he can do it now, it's hard to really take the Ravens that serious, unless they build a defense like the Broncos, the Seahawks. They built the defense that can be consistent. They build an offensive line that can just move people no matter who's on the other side of it. And that's kind of gone away.
It's hard to maintain that because, like, you look at his MVP year, everything was going well for that team.
Absolutely.
Defensively, they're outstanding. That offensive line was ridiculous. I forget about the name of the guard. Was it Marshall Yanda? Was it
Marshall Yanda? First ballot Hall of Famer.
Again, like we try to preach, no beef, no Lombardi. And when you have interior offensive linemen like that that can move people 5 yards downfield. I mean, you really miss that stuff when they're gone. So all of those things was going very well for Lamar. Good running backs, again, offensive line, defense. So maintaining that through a time period is very hard. Again, look at the Buccaneers and the pieces that they're missing. Look at the Cowboys, who at one point we thought Tyrone Smith, Zach Martin, and Travis Frederick were going to be staples for like 10 to 12 years. That doesn't. This is football, man. Anything could change, and it sucks. It really does. But look at Marpet. He retired at 29. He's not even 30. Probably just turned 30 now. You know what I mean? So this sport is unforgiving, man. It's very unforgiving. And Lamar got to become a packet passer because that rushing attack, that running, that impact on the ground, even if you don't get tackled, it takes its toll. It takes its toll on you. So pocket passing wins games, wins championships.
Yeah. All right. Listen, I think this has been a high quality football conversation. So what I'm going to do, we were planning on going to the little after 8. What I'm going to do is we're going to condense it. We're going to leave it here so people can run it back and listen to it. It's a nice little football conversation about two polar opposite quarterbacks. So Vic, let's do this. Let's do one thing, and then we're going to wrap it up with predictions, and we're going to go out and give people some time to get some food and whatnot before kickoff. Okay, couple matchups here. Devin White and Levante David versus Lamar Jackson. Quick breakdown how they'll factor in and can be possibly decisive towards this game. If you want, I can go, or you can go.
No, I mean, I could just real quick, again, the speed of Levante and White are it's what's going to be key in terms of keeping Lamar within the frame of the numbers and stuff like that. Don't let him get outside. Don't let him get any first downs and stuff like that. I think they will use, some situations where they will spy on him because they just have that speed necessary to keep up with him. These are one of these matchups where, again, you got two rare linebackers with that kind of speed that not every defense is blessed to have. So it'd be interesting to see what they're able to do against Lamar. If this is a situation where they keep him to 40 yards rushing, it's going to help the Tampa Bay offense significantly. So, for sure there.
I think honestly, what's going to come down to is the tackling, because I think Todd Bowles is going to put so many different packages together for Levante and Devin White and Antoine Winfield and Keon O'Neal to just come at him and blitz him from all different angles, pressure him from all different angles, trying to flush him one way or another. And so they can kind of condense the space that they got to tackle him. So I think I'm looking for some very unique blitzes and packages and personnel from the BUCS front seven today, including their safeties. I'm going to include their safeties because when you're playing Lamar, you have to include the safeties in that run defense. You just have to. I have maintained for years that the best way to stop this offense is if you can have corners that can just lock you up, and then you can condense your linebackers and your safeties on covering Mark Andrews, the running back, and the quarterback. That is like, keep it simple, but complex blitzes. That's what I think should happen. And I think the biggest thing, I do think Todd Bowles will be prepared. I do think they have a good game plan together, but it's like Floyd Mayweather. Everybody had a plan for Floyd until they got in the ring with Floyd. And I'm not even the biggest Floyd Mayweather fan, but and so this is very similar here with Lamar. Everybody's got a plan for Lamar until they got to play Lamar. And the biggest factor to me is going to be the BUCS tackling. When they get in his face behind the line of scrimmage, make sure you bring him down, because if you don't, he's going to break some very explosive runs throughout the night. And I think it's going to be a close game. I really do.
Oh, yeah.
On the flip side now, Ravens corners, Buccaneers receivers. Advantages, disadvantages, strengths, weaknesses.
That's a good one, man. I didn't really get to get deep on that one. I think that, again, Mike Evans just needs to stop dropping some passes, man. I mean, because I guess, for me, regardless of what cornerback tandem you play against, Tom Brady's going to put the ball on the spot for you. You know what I mean? So, like, it doesn't matter to me what corners they play. These receivers got to be on the spot, and they got to make play, and they got to make catches. One thing that, again, Mike Evans, as great as he is, Chris Godwin, as great as he is, they gotta keep their hands on the football. And Tampa Bay constantly in the top 10 and dropping passes every year. So, Mike Evans, man, you're open 10, 15 yards downfield, catch a damn ball and score. You know what I mean? That could have changed the game significantly last week if he didn't drop that.
No doubt. No doubt, Mike. Mike's got to be a little more consistent. And Godwin's got to be a little more productive. Like, Godwin's averaging 6 catches a game, and I don't remember a single catch. You know what I mean? Outside of that one in Pittsburgh, and then he made one against I want to say Atlanta. But Godwin is, and their bread and butter used to be a little screen pass to Godwin. It's gonna get you 7 to 12 yards automatically. That's not happening no more. Right. So definitely a couple of different things, but they got to start being more productive, more impactful. Right. Both of those receivers. The Ravens secondary, again, there's no shortage of talent. It's the substance and the consistency of said talent.
Well,
Injury report, real quick. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
One thing real quick, if you look at the advanced metrics, Tampa Bay is at towards the bottom of the league in yak. You know what I mean? So they're not getting the passing, the catch and run type of plays that they need to do. And that has a lot to do with just lack of explosiveness, eluding tackles, breaking tackles like they used to. I mean, Godwin could just be limited now because of injury. This could be his regression time now. It is what it like. That's what happens with this sport. You get injuries to your lower body, you're not gonna have the same explosiveness. So that yak that Godwin was able to get early in his career, you don't see it as often.
So I just looked at the injury report. I didn't realize this is my fault. My fault. First of all, great point about the yak. A big part of most offenses in the NFL today. It's a new NFL. Yak is essential. That's a bar. Yak is essential. Especially for some of y'all sly ass football teams. Dion. Anyways, April. Anyways, my fault. I digress. Jorge. I'm sorry. That's baseball. Sean Murphy-Bunting, Carlton Davis, and Antoine Winfield are all inactive in this game.
Wow.
Akeem Hicks yet again inactive. Cam Brate, which is significant in this matchup, is inactive for the BUCS as well. For the Ravens, Mark Andrews should play. Rashad Bateman should play. But Calais Campbell is out. And both starting cornerbacks should be good to go. Ronnie Stanley should be good to go. Gus Edwards should all be good to go as well. So some major names missing, but some major ones playing, including Quintorius Jones, which might be a big solution to their red zone woes.
Yeah. No, I mean, what are the chances those guys will be available if this was a Sunday night game, Monday night game instead?
Man, listen. I can't be mad at it, but it's like, dog, you are, bro. I can't be mad, but like allow me to feel pleasure, and I've been waiting all day for this game.
Oh God, most stop.
What you want me to do, bro? I got a buffalo chicken pizza on the way with some blue cheese on top. Yeah. Cannot wait.
And I'd rather go eat my Doritos and play Call of Duty right now.
All right, one thing I ain't doing is eating a McRib. Shout out to everybody in the comment section. Big Shot said that we ended the show because I'm hangry. That's not true, but that's not a lie either. Yeah, I appreciate you, Tanya. Shout out to Category 5 Storms. He said if you can keep Lamar from getting the edge, he's going to roll to his right and throw about 10 to 15 balls out of bounds. Again, that's kind of condense the area that you got to get to him. That's a big deal. Tanya said Lamar is not right. Russ and Big Shot, once again on my appetite, says, man, appetite was like, nah, fam, we eat or we riot. Tell you what, they lose tonight, I might riot either way. The thread is already up. We will see y'all in the thread. Views from the 22 Facebook group, a group brought to you by The Scene, Sports, Culture, and Entertainment Network, where we bring it to you live and direct, straight to your neck. Call it a bow tie flow. Take us home, Vic.
22, baby.